You wake up at 6:15 a.m. without an alarm. You haven't used an alarm clock in 4 years, not because you're grinding, and not because some self-help guru told you that billionaires journal in the dark at 4 o'clock a.m. You sleep 8 hours every night because your body finally runs on its own clock instead of somebody else's schedule. The house is a 1,700 square foot ranch in a quiet suburban neighborhood. You bought it 9 years ago for $230,000. It's been fully paid off for 3 years. You are worth $1.45 million. Nobody knows this, not your neighbors, not your coworkers, and certainly not your brother-in-law with the leased BMW, who spent Thanksgiving explaining why renting luxury cars is actually a tax strategy. You just nodded politely and passed the mashed potatoes. You put on the same plain gray t-shirt you always wear. This isn't frugality as punishment. Ow. This is the quiet luxury of never spending a single second thinking about clothes again. You make coffee at home. Skipping the drive-through coffee shop saves roughly $1,800 a year. But here is the secret that financial blogs always miss. The $1,800 was never the point. The point was becoming the person who asks once, "Is this purchase actually worth my freedom?" and never has to ask again. While the water heats, you check your accounts. It takes exactly 90 seconds. The only time all day you will look at money. $1.12 million sits in 3 broad market index funds, compounding silently since you turned 28. $210,000 sits in a high-yield taxable brokerage account, the bridge that lets you quit working decades before traditional retirement age. $120,000 sits in cash earning yield in a high-yield savings account. Cash isn't an investment. Cash is the liquid moat that keeps you from ever having to sell stocks during a market crash. You drive a 2016 sedan with 118,000 miles on the odometer. Bought 3 years old with cash. At a red light on your commute, a brand new $75,000 pickup truck pulls up beside you. Statistically, he financed it for 72 months at $100 a month. You don't judge him, but you know the math. $100 a month invested at an 8% return becomes $1 million in 25 years. That truck at the intersection isn't a status symbol. It's a future millionaire that will never exist. You arrive at work at 8:50 a.m., senior analyst, 11 years in, $108,000 salary. Real money, but not, how is he a millionaire money? Nobody suspects that the guy carrying a lunch container could buy the building. You work because you like the daily structure and because every single dollar you earn now is pure surplus. Do you know what that does to your posture in a corporate meeting? When your director floats a chaotic, weekend-destroying project in a conference room, you don't panic or nod out of fear. You look him in the eye and say calmly, "I don't think that timeline is realistic without burning out the team, so here is what we can realistically deliver. You can afford honesty, the most expensive commodity in modern corporate life, and you are fully paid up. 2 years ago, they offered you a promotion to senior manager, a 30% pay bump, a fancier title, and 300% more meetings. You said, no, thank you. Your director looked at you like you declined a kidney. The raise would have moved your retirement date by 4 months. The stress would have moved your lifespan by 5 years. You traded corporate status for peaceful evenings. At 10:30 a.m., a younger coworker catches you in the office kitchen. He's 26, sharp, and quietly drowning in stress. He mentions his $12,000 credit card debt and asks how you stay so calm. You don't lecture him. You remember being 26 when debt felt like a heavy weight on your chest. You give him the 2 sentences that changed your life. Pay your future self automatically before you touch your paycheck and never finance anything that depreciates. Lunch is leftover home-cooked pasta, costing $3.50 a serving. Your coworkers order $22 food delivery daily while complaining about inflation in the same breath. You used to feel smug about this years ago. You don't feel smug anymore? just indifferent. Other people's spending stopped being a scoreboard once you realized that true wealth is invisible. Your phone buzzes at 2 p.m. It's your sister. Her home hot water heater died, costing $2,600 she doesn't have. You hear the tightness in her voice. Oh, the sound of someone rehearsing an apology for needing help. You tell her, I'll transfer it right now. Don't worry about it. You transfer $2,600 from your cash reserve. It refills automatically next month from your surplus earnings. Here is the math nobody puts in a YouTube thumbnail. $1,600 is 0.1% of your net worth. For your sister, it was a major financial crisis headed for a credit card with 26% interest. The greatest dividend wealth ever pays isn't luxury goods or exotic travel. It's the power to completely delete an emergency from the life of someone you love. At 4:30 p.m., you log off. You don't sneak out like you're committing a crime, and you don't stay late to prove your loyalty to a company that would post your job opening in 3 days if you died. You walk out into the late afternoon sun while the office parking garage is still mostly empty. You pull into your driveway at 5:15 p.m. Your neighbor Rick waves from his lawn. Rick has a brand new boat, a camper, 2 leased SUVs, and a home equity loan that freed up cash. Rick makes more money than you. By every visible metric, Rick is winning. But Rick couldn't survive 90 days without a paycheck before total financial collapse. You walk your dog along the 2-mile neighborhood loop as the sun sets. Someone once asked what your number was, the exact figure where you'd finally feel secure. You passed that number $500,000 ago, and nothing changed. No fireworks went off. The number just became a larger number, and you were still you, walking the same evening path. That was the ultimate lesson that came after the money. The finish line is an illusion. Wealth isn't a pile of expensive objects or an impressive job title. Wealth is the complete density of calmness in your life. It's the total absence of panic when the phone rings, when a market falls, or when a crisis happens. You step inside your home, turn off the lights, and enjoy the silence.